for those of our audience that aren't familiar with Canadian system, and to be honest with you, I didn't know this complexity of our system until I actually started getting to healthcare a couple of years back, maybe 5-6 years back. Before then, I actually thought, oh, it's a single payer system. Everything's really easy. You just, it is not that way in Canada. So maybe you can help the audience understand what is the role of PCPA, or what is PCPA, and then what is the role of PCPA as well?
I'll take a step back and say, start with CADTH, right? Because that's step one. If you have already received market authorization in Canada, so Health Canada has said this product is safe and effective and therefore is allowed to be marketed, the next decision that is made is by CADTH. They are a health technology assessment body. So they're assessing the value of that product. And value can be seen in a number of different ways, but what they're essentially doing is putting together the financial and the clinical together in one assessment. That's fundamentally what a health technology assessment does. It brings those two things together and looks at the intersection. They will often do economic models or use a manufacturer's economic model and assess whether it makes sense for the Canadian environment. Sometimes these are transferred from other markets and to be used here. But at the end of the day, what they do gets encapsulated in a recommendation, right? And the recommendation is really a recommendation to their the provinces that are their stakeholders, right? This is a health technology assessment on behalf of the provinces, typically. So they will recommend either we recommend adopting this, it's good value, or we recommend adopting this on some sort of criteria that the patient population is limited, or that the price needs to be lower, or some other criteria, or they will recommend flat out that this is not a good value and should not be adopted. Right. So those are sort of the three large buckets that it typically falls into. If it's either of the first two, so a positive recommendation or a recommendation with some sort of criteria attached to it, it goes to the next step, and that's the PCPA. PCPA basically is the party that on behalf of the provinces negotiates an agreement, essentially. It covers price, as I said, it could cover price, but it's not just limited to price. It could be limited to affordability, the full budget. What is it going to cost? And there, it was meant to, this intermediate step was meant to replace the manufacturer having to go province by province by province by province and actually doing this, and then also having disparate agreements province to province. So one province may have, was able to get a good deal, and the other ones look at it and go, why didn't I get that? So this actually brings a lot of negotiating power to the PCPA, to the payer, and also allows hopefully some speeding up of the process so that you're getting access faster. And then the last step is actually, once you have that letter of intent, that agreement in principle with the PCPA in hand, the manufacturer would go province to province and just sign the final actual legal agreement that yes, we're going to be putting it on our formulary. So that's the process in Canada, and that's where CADTH versus the sort of the pricing negotiation authority versus the last line the provinces fit in. Of course, as always, we also have INES in Quebec that stands on their own. They can choose to participate in or utilize the evidence from any of these other agencies. They do have the capacity to do it all on their own. And they typically have a broader approach to what is value. They take what we call the societal approach. So they're looking at lost productivity, things like that is not always covered by other health technology assessment groups in Canada or considered by provinces in Canada. So Quebec is kind of a special case. They can pick and choose how they want to interact in this system.